Welcome to News Alert on Capital Television.
The President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, has paid a glowing tribute to the late PV Obeng today at the opening of a two-day conference on bridging the gap between education and industry. The president in his speech took some few minutes to pay a posthumous homage to the late patriot.
Before I deliver my remarks, please permit me to take a moment to pay tribute to a great servant of Ghana who would have been here this morning as one of the key speakers at this conference. I'm talking of Sir Paul Victor Obeng, simply known as PV, who tragically passed away only last Saturday. Many know him as the chairman of the National Development Planning Commission, but I have known him as a supporter, a mentor, and a key advisor. In addition to the various roles that he has played in the development of our nation over the past 4 decades, he was critical to the government that I lead. He's been an astute technocrat, a patriot, a nationalist, who was always looking for great ways to get people united and have things accomplished for the good of the people of Ghana. He has served his nation, Ghana, and the people well. We pray for his widow and his entire family to be given God's comfort and strength at this difficult time.
The president expressed his happiness for such a platform which will look at critical issues that will help deal with problems of youth unemployment. His Excellency stated that there is currently more access to secondary education per the government's initiative to expand secondary education.
I'm pleased and encouraged to see that this important initiative has been given a platform today, so that all the eminent personalities and experts gathered here can share their thoughts and practical recommendations on how the outcomes can resolve the frustrations of youth unemployment and move our country higher towards economic growth and progress. Nana Chairman, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the theme, achieving a strong partnership between education, training, and industry, the way forward, highlights the urgent need for the education sector and industry to collaborate more towards achieving a common goal.
The conference is under the theme, Achieving a Strong Partnership Between Education and Industry, the way forward. The Minister of State in charge of Trade and Industry, Haruna Idrisu, has challenged universities in the country to help produce graduates that meet the current job market requirements as well as global standards. He charged the universities to therefore find new ways and methods of teaching. Honorable Haruna Idrisu questioned the contribution of those who complain about the poor standards of education in the country. He made these observations today at the first day of a 2-day conference dubbed Bridging the Gap Between Education and Industry at the International Conference Center.
Concede the fact that universities are not generic general academic training will continue to be the primary responsibility and obligation of higher education. But let me just use one practical example in the Ghanaian situation, which we are all familiar with. In the last decade, 10 years backwards, I've heard debate, professors, professionals, doctors, parents. We don't have enough doctors. We don't have enough nurses. What have you done to correct that anomaly and to remedy it by way of your training opportunity and in reaching out to young people who want to become doctors and nurses? So what we are asking our universities to do is to begin to produce to meet our contemporary immediate needs and to prepare for a growing future economy. Suffice it to say today, we have over 2 million skills jobs vacant globally, 2 million as of today. Any of you can Google, go onto your computer. Is that to say that unemployment in the face of scarcity of skills Certainly, that is not the contextual problem. It means that there are certain category of people that we are not producing enough in the right numbers, or we are producing them for an economy which is not growing in order to be able to absorb them.
The sudden death of a former presidential advisor, Mr. Paul Victor Obeng, last Saturday afternoon has sent shock waves through the Ghanaian society. PV Obeng, as he is affectionately called, died from circumstances which is not immediately known. He was the head of the National Development Planning Commission until his death. He actively worked for the state during the just-ended National Economic Forum last week at Senchi. An old friend and a colleague of PV, Nana Ato Dadzie, who was the chief of staff during the first NDC administration, spoke to Capital News about the loss.
PV Obeng is the last person anyone will be thinking about, dying, because he was in active service as late as Friday. And this Saturday morning, it's known that he was working with colleagues on the wrap-up to the conference, the economic forum that was undertaken, was suddenly called to higher realms, as we say. I worked with Mr. PV Obeng at the PNDC headquarters, as it were, the Castle Osu, from 1982 to 1992 under the PNDC, headed by then Chairman Rawlings. In 1992 to 2001, the two of us, together with others, worked under the new dispensation. It was a constitutional era under the PNDC 1 and PNDC 2, headed by now President Rawlings. In the first 10 years, that's the 1982 to 1992, he was a coordinating secretary. What that meant was that at the time, instead of ministers, we had secretaries of state, as it were. We had ministers were secretaries, district chief executives were district secretaries, that kind of stuff. And he was a coordinating secretary. You see, so he coordinated the works of all the ministries and all those appointees. So was he in effect the prime minister, if you call it, in this country for that 10-year period.
Nana Ato Dadzie said Ghana must honor PV for his contribution to the development of the state.
PV served his nation very well. He served his nation. He gave of his life, his best to this country, both in social, economic, political, scene. He gave everything. We worked under very tiring circumstances. No food, we didn't have cars, we didn't have anything. Between 82 and 92 was very tough times. Millions of Ghanaians left the country. There was fire, bushfire and whatnot. No food in the country, no fuel, nothing. But, for all those of us who stayed back, we believed in Ghana, believed that Ghana will make it. There are temporary jolts, like today, what we are saying. But like PV, believed that this country had a great future.
The Greater Accra region topped in road accidents in the first quarter of 2014 with a figure of 1,336. This was followed by Eastern Region with 384 accidents, according to provisional figures released by the National Road Safety Commission. The number of road accidents in the Greater Accra region in the first quarter of 2014 has shot up compared to the first quarter of 2013, which stood at 1,187. However, the Central region led in the number of deaths as a result of road accidents in the first quarter of this year, with a figure of 88 deaths in 333 accidents. The total number of persons killed in road accidents in the first 3 months of this year stood at 547 in 5,788 accidents. A planning officer of the National Road Safety Commission says the level of safety on the roads is not the best. He says it is the vision of the commission to have more safer roads in the country.
Interest is in the optimal environment within which they can use the road safely and exit the environment safely, maintaining the facility for others to have access to it and also use it under optimal conditions of safety. And so when we talk about what the situation is right now, we will not sit and admit that the situation is the best because the conflicts within the road environment claim lives, they destroy properties, they reduce the economic capabilities of our citizens. And so looking at it from that background, we will not say that the road safety situation is one that is the best.
The Center for Self-Development, a non-governmental organization in conjunction with Capital Television, will on Wednesday, 21st May, launch an educational project dubbed Speed Up. Speed Up has been initiated to equip and train young people on performance consciousness. The CEO of Center for Self-Development, Marcus Kennedy Kate, spoke to Capital Television on the forthcoming launch of the program.
The tagline, the other education that completes you, just basically implies that if you've had formal education, regardless of, even if up to university level, you're still not complete until you've had this other education that is not usually provided in the formal curricula. Now, the best way to explain this is to use this structure and content analysis. Everything functions on structure. Information is the same way. In fact, a human being is the way they are because of the skeleton, and that's their structure. The launch is at Busy Internet, is 1 p.m. It's on the 21st of May, Wednesday, 21st of May, 2014.
The Accra Central Magistrate Court has remanded Lawrence Nana Esiama Hansen into 2 weeks prison custody. Lawrence Nana Esiama Hansen, aka Bulldog, was arrested by the CID Department of the Ghana Police Service last week in connection with the murder of Fennec Ochre, the manager of Kwaukese. Bulldog is a popular entertainment critic and manager of Shatawale, is helping the police in their investigations.
Two Ghanaian midfielders, Michael Essien and Kelvin Prince Boateng, are not taking part in their first session of Ghana's pre-World Cup campaign. They are excluded on the grounds of family issues. At the same time, Kelvin Prince Boateng will use the opportunity to sort out his fitness issues with his personal doctor. The two are expected to join the team on May 25th, where the residential campaign begins. A car bomb has exploded in Nigeria's second most populous city, Kano, killing at least 4 and wounding 5 others, police have said. Police Superintendent Shinaba said the car exploded on Sunday night before the bomber reached his target of the restaurants and bars lining Gold Coast Street. An eyewitness, Abdul Dafar, told newsmen that he saw at least 4 dead bodies after the explosion. The Sabon Gari, a Christian area of the Muslim majority city of Kano, is a popular place where people dine, play games, dance and drink alcohol late into the night. Multiple blasts in Sabon Gari killed at least 24 people last July, and a suicide bomber drove a car filled with explosives into the neighborhood's bus station in March 2013, killing at least 25 people.